Hello, everyone. How are you doing tonight? Hello from Los Angeles. Can you hear me? Awesome. So happy to hear you have sound and screens and everything is working perfectly tonight, loud and clear, most excellent. Hello from Pennsylvania. Hey, Simon, I see you. Keep trading. Love the handle. It's a great handle. So, welcome to the webinar tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about finding freedom, how I grow my accounts, and most importantly, how you can do it too. But we're also going to be talking about barbecue. Who loves barbecue? Oh, yeah, for sure. You do. Awesome. That's amazing. Texas barbecue. That's great. Tier, Franklin's. So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know if y'all know, but you're in Austin. Awesome, Joe. That's excellent. So we're going to be talking about barbecue tonight in addition to trading. And I just want to start off the night by talking about a gorgeously delicious combo plate, okay? Just imagine that you have the opportunity to pick a 3-4 meat combo plate. In this example, we have ribs, brisket, chicken, and we also have just a little bit of sausage along with some sides, okay? Which do you prefer, okay? Or do you like the combination? Do you like you just want to focus on the brisket? Would you like to just, you just go in there, you say, hey, I don't want that combo plate. The only thing that I'm interested in is chicken. Would you rather some ribs with sauce or without sauce? I know that's a pretty big, right? Brisket, love Texas barbecue, love North Carolina barbecue. Awesome. Well, the point here is that there's a lot of different variations, okay? And these aren't the only options as well. You can also get some salmon, cheese and crackers, catfish, fried onion rings. There's a lot of different options when it comes to barbecue, okay? The same is true in trading. There are so many choices, okay? We've got the squeeze, we've got the short squeeze, we've got the VZO, we've got the RF, we've got earnings setups, okay? There are so many opportunities out there for us in eating with barbecue and in trading as well. Not fair using food for those of us who are hungry, LOL. Well, this year I've been really getting into learning how to barbecue, and so I thought it was a fantastic analogy because like most other professions or hobbies, there's going to be multiple different ways in which people go about it, but that doesn't mean it's wrong or it's right. There's just different ways to do it, right? So I thought it was a great analogy for tonight. So getting back to trading. In trading, obviously, our goal is to make money, okay? Last year, I made the goal that I was going to be buying a ranch. This was a webinar from July 2019 that I did. At that time, I was really obsessed with John's Ranch. I like going out in the country. And I wanted to make sure that I was going to elevate my trading in a way that would enable me to achieve my dreams. I used to make 20 to 50%, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? That's great. It's good numbers, but it doesn't buy lake houses, okay? This year, I'm currently up 600%, and what I want to tell you here tonight is that money equals opportunity, which in turn equals freedom. So this is the current account that I've been trading after I cashed out my other accounts. I started with 6K because when you're buying a house, they say, hey, don't mess up any of your finances. So I thought, well, I'll just play with a $6,000 account. And so I started off with that one when I was in the middle of buying this house. And currently now I'm up about $31,000, which is about 600%. And that was just from June, okay? So here's two other accounts that I was trading this year. This one I quadrupled in January. I ended up cashing that one out. And then here's another one as well that I traded from 2 to 17. That was actually a futures account. But for me, The moral of the story here is that I like to make money trading so that I can buy things that I want and that I need, okay? And, my dad, he's the first one to say, hey, I'm going to buy a boat, right? Like that's the best way to waste money, right? And nobody can deny that. It's very true. But it's bought me so much freedom and happiness. And I love taking my dogs, going out there with my husband and my son on the weekends. And for me, that is absolutely worth it. Now, next year, I have a new goal because you know what? I am so tired of this pandemic. Who else is tired of the pandemic? But I am going to get a place in the Northwest because that's where my family is. And I am tired of having birthdays on Skype, okay? So that is what I'm trading for. And I want to know what you're trading for. Awesome. Yes, exactly. You live in Portland. It's amazing. You're trading for retirement, lake house, freedom to do what I want. Honestly, for me, it's all about doing what I want. I don't care about the price. I just want to have the money to do what I want to do. If I want to do something ridiculous, like I was telling my husband, I want a Bronco. I want those big tires and I want it to sit up above the ground. And he said, Danielle, that's ridiculous. You're going to go to the grocery store looking like that? And I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm not going to off-road. I just want my Bronco and it's going to be awesome. The moral of the story is you may not agree with the things that other people spend money on, but the moral of the story here is that you make money and you spend it on what you want because that's what freedom is, okay? So there have been multiple different market conditions throughout the course of this year. It's been a crazy year. We started off with a really strong bullish market. We had the coronavirus crash that came through. That was a pretty significant, obviously, downward momentum in the market here. We got that coronavirus crash. And at that point, after that, we just traded higher in a significant manner, okay? It was something that I don't think that anyone really predicted, but at the same time, it was a fantastic trading opportunity, okay? So when you're looking at the course of this year and you look at that rally off of the lows and then you look at the bull market that followed, and here, I'm going to have to get my tool up here again because I want to draw some images on this webinar for you guys. All right, let's see if this is working now. So, no, it's fine, but you got the charts, right? Done it throughout the market conditions. All right, so basically, you want to look at the different market conditions that have shown up over the course of the past year. You want to see and you want to understand the fact that when you're an options trader, you are going to be experiencing different conditions all the time, okay? You cannot just be a one-trick pony where you know how to trade in a directional bull market. That is not the case. You need to be able to trade in a directional bull market. You need to be able to trade in a momentum market. You need to be able to trade when the market is pulling back, okay? These are all things that are absolutely critical. So, is that something right now that you're prepared to do? Let me ask you that. Is that something that you're comfortable with? Yes, no, maybe so. You like the different market conditions. Okay, got it. Awesome. Yes, maybe so. Some people yes, some people no. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the market is always changing. There's going to be opportunities for new traders. There's going to be opportunities for seasoned traders alike. But what you need to know is that there's going to be volatility and there's going to be changes. So, for example, this was this Monday, all right? This Monday, we ended up seeing on October 19th, of course, anniversary of a huge stock market day, the S&P dropped 80 points before creeping higher after hours. Boom, creeped lower, right? Well, I wouldn't say creeped lower, fell lower. How was that day? Well, when I was looking at the stock market that day, one of the first things that I do is I always want to look at the key stocks, all right? We had Amazon, we had Tesla, we had Apple, we had Microsoft, we had Facebook, Adobe. All of these key FANG stocks were trading lower. If you look at this grid right here, you can see how they started turning red. There are some of these tickers right here like PayPal, Costco, Walmart, Wayfair. They were holding up, but for the most part, the market was turning lower as a whole. Well, not the whole market. This is a screenshot from the exact same Monday, this Monday, with multiple of my favorite tickers to trade, okay? Do you see how there's green across the board? Green, 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 green. That means they were still up and they were still very strong, right? So the moral of the story is that even when the market is down, especially in years like this year, there is always a bull market somewhere. There's always opportunity somewhere. You just have to know where to find it, okay? So when I'm looking at that tool that I was just talking about, yes, it helps me pick out winners, but it also helps me pick out losers too. This is a trade that I took a stop on this week. And if you're looking at this screenshot right here and the overall pattern, you can see how we go from red to green to yellow to green. And then boom, you break down below the lows, you have that yellow candle and you have a high volume dot and down it goes. This is a confirmation sell signal that I was getting on CVNA. And when you look at the overall grid that I like to use, you can see that we went from green to yellow, warning sign, to boom. This is going down. It is time to take a stop. So, you know, this year's been crazy. This week has been a little bit weird as well. But the tools that I use, they're going to show me what to do on the upside and the downside as well, okay? It's not just one way. So what we're going to be focusing on today is number one, how I pick tickers to trade when the market is flying and what to do when it's pulling back. We're also going to talk about how I make money using 3 different option strategies and how you can avoid emotion and make strategic picks in a fraction of the time. All of this is about learning how to grow options counts. So I did want to just take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Shea. I'm the Director of Options here at Simpler Trading. I'm also a pretty frequent guest commentator on CNBC, Fox, Fox Business, stock charts, and the like. And I also do like to post pretty regularly on Twitter. But it was not always like this. I didn't go to school for finance and never imagined that I was going to be in this industry. I actually used to teach elementary school right on the beach in Costa Rica. I ran off right after I finished college. Making $2 an hour sounded like a fantastic idea to me. I had a lot of great friends and I love to teach kids, and it was a great time, and I really wasn't concerned about how to grow my wealth or anything like that at that point in my life. I never would have thought, just like anybody else, that I was going to end up here. But here I am, and I have done this based on the education that I've received, the work that I have done, and I continue to teach others because I remember what it was like when I was that girl that was leaving the beach in Costa Rica, and I wanted to find something that was going to be able to support me in life and be able to give me a better future than making a certain dollar per hour from whatever company that I was potentially going to work from. So that's why I started this, and that's why I continue doing it. Now, let me tell you, what is a trader or a hungry eater to do? Okay, you know you want to trade, you know you want to make money, but what are you supposed to do and how are you supposed to make that happen? Okay, well, let's go ahead and break it down. So I showed you my results, okay? This latest account that I've been trading, I've been up 600%. There's been some days where, you know, I'll have some crazy days like $400,000 or $500,000 days. This is an example of a $6,000 day. But notice it's a combination of multiple different setups and multiple different picks. I've got Apple, AMD, BE, Chewy, DocuSign, GoGo, Microsoft, Oracle. It's not just one trade, right? It's a combination of multiple different picks. But what you have to know is that different tickers, while they're completely different companies, they have specific aspects in common. And that is what you as a trader have to learn how to identify and exploit. So talking about Chewy, talking about Zoom, Stitch Fix, Virgin Galactic, DocuSign, AMD, and Microsoft, what do they have in common? Well, I can tell you, they've been absolutely amazing this year. Number one, let's go ahead and look through some examples. Is this live? Yes, Peterman, it is live. So if I make a mistake, you're just going to hit rewind like Netflix, right? Sorry, I just had to take a minute to make a joke. Looking at Stitch Fix. So this is a company that will send clothes in the mail, right? And you can pick out your outfits so you get to wear all that kind of good stuff. This also has a lot of high short interest, okay? In addition to having a fantastic pattern. So in this example, what I did was when the trend strength candle shifted down to a key area of support, I went ahead and got in. You can see the shift right here, red, yellow, green, boom, off it goes. I went ahead and got in and I got out as it was still trading higher on momentum. This, in this example, is a 52% winner, okay? I was looking for a nice conservative gain. I wasn't looking for anything too crazy. I got in for $3.25 and I got out for $4.95, 52% winner. Here's an example of a ticker that I trade over and over again all the time, okay? Chewy, one of my favorites. Here you have entry, exit, entry, exit, entry, exit, entry, exit. And there's even more after this. Entry and exit, okay? So when you're looking at this type of ticker, what makes it so special? All right, well, I can tell you, when you compare it against its peers, this has a lit up pattern, okay? Look at Chewy. You're looking for green, okay? Green is cash, money, honey. And that's exactly right, Joe. It's about relative strength. So what you're looking for is something that is stronger than the rest. Now, people will look at relative strength and they'll say like, oh, I can look at the RSI or this and that. Okay, what if you look at relative strength and compare it against different tickers at the same exact time? How else are you able to pick out the strongest one in the bunch? The common denominator of these setups had number one, my favorite pattern. Number two, relative strength. These are hot COVID names. They have lots of hype. They have high short interest, and I had a plan to trade them in the options market. So, if we go back to this barbecue buffet, it's really, it is just so similar looking at a barbecue buffet, okay? You have so many different options when you identify a setup and you have a pattern and you're not sure how you want to trade it. It's the same thing like when you're trying to decide what to cook, right? Well, I could smoke a chicken, but I don't want to dry it out. I have to get the timing perfect. And, sausage, it's really not that hard. For the most part, it's mostly cooked. All you got to do is warm it up. But you could still screw it up if you really tried. And then what about call debit spreads? Well, I think personally ribs are a little bit easier than making chicken just because you have to do it low and slow. But you need patience. It's the same thing with call debit spreads. With a butterfly, brisket, everybody loves brisket, right? It is so amazing, but you have to do it right. It's the same thing with butterflies, okay? You got to give it enough time. If you don't, it might be chewy and dry. But if you set it up right, it's going to be delicious and you're going to be very rewarded, okay? So also, different people are different. How do you know which one is your flavor? Maybe you just want some chicken and fish and you don't like the red meat. That's completely fine. But to do that, you do need to know the top strategies to get you where you want to go. So let's look at a couple of different strategies, okay? Here is the setup in Chewy. It's a little bit of a sloppy cup and handle pattern. You had something that had a previous short squeeze. That was a great move. Pulled back to the 50 period simple. It has a momentum shift and then boom, off it went with a volume breakout move, okay? And a nice squeeze there as well. In this example, this ended up being a 6K, 3K day on Chewy. This is September 1st, 2020. You can see 32.80 right there. Sorry, I was mixing it up with another trade. But overall, this is a fantastic day on Chewy. I also like to do cheap trades. So somebody's asking, you know, how do you do butterflies or spreads in 6K account? I've traded many different 6K accounts. This account that I'm showing right now, I started with 6K when I was in the process of buying a house, and I wasn't really supposed to, you know, do anything too crazy with the money that I had. So it is absolutely possible to do these type of trades with a 6K account, and I know because I've done it many times, and this was a 6K account. Now it's 30 something K. But basically what you want to do is you can lower the debits that you're paying, and you can use more conservative strategies, particularly multi-leg strategies. In this example, I only paid $2.30 and ended up getting out of it for $4.86. And it was cheap, and it was a double. And it's a great example of how to trade Chewy. You know, one way you're trading the calls, another way you're trading the butterfly. So the trend strength turbo candles, that is one thing that really helps me lead the way, okay? You can see that shift from the red to the yellow to the green, and boom, off it goes. You have a nice volume and momentum move, all right? The trend strength turbo candles, this is my favorite tool because, well, you know, I came up with it, but it shows me the strength of the trend, volume, and momentum. They display when to get in and when to get out because they're showing you the shifting of the trend based on the changes in the colors of the candles, okay? So here's another example on SE. So in this example, I did some small account trades and large account trades as well. So I did a butterfly where I got in for $4.59, ended up getting out for 10. And then I also got into some long calls for 10 and got out for 15. So you have a conservative trade. You also have a more aggressive trade. And it was about 118%. This is a pretty simple directional trade where I had an entry and an exit. This one also had a lot of high short interest. We didn't get a huge short squeeze with it, but it still ended up making for some great profits. The goal here is that with directional options trading, what I'm looking at changes. Sometimes I'm going to be looking at specific sectors. Sometimes I'm going to be looking at specific industry groups. Right now, you know, things are a little bit crazy with the election. But when momentum is picking up, I am looking for hot stocks. When momentum is rolling over, I'm looking for losers. When there is uncertainty abound, I've always used grids like this, all right? How many of you have a grid like this? So this is what I use for the majority of, I don't know, the first 5 years that I traded. Yes, Joe. Yes, Steve. Yes, I see you. I mean, this is what I used to use all the time. And I would try to look at it and I would try to determine, okay, well, which one's doing better, communications or tech? I mean, you can't really see, there's not a huge difference right here. They're both above the moving averages, but which one's doing better? It's just very subjective. So that is why I shifted over into this type of grid right here. This is what I like to call my Phoenix tool. So this tool puts everything in one spot and it uses my specific rules to show you exactly which ticker is stronger or weaker. And it shows you exactly when they shift as well, okay? So that is one aspect of my trading, but I also love to use watch lists and scans. So who loves using watch lists? For me, watch lists is exactly what it's all about, okay? When the market's going crazy or even when the market's soft. I mean, like today, for example, the market was doing nothing. It was like watching paint dry. But you can go to a watch list very quickly. You can see what's moving, what's not moving, and that's going to give you some fantastic ideas for how to trade. But you know what's been different about this year versus the past few years is that traders must be laser focused only on specific stocks. You have to know which ones are the best. And in doing that, you have to look for which ones are lit up. The ones that are lit up, the ones that are the strongest, the ones that are really making the moves, those are the ones that you're going to be able to have huge days like this where, you know, you're trading $6,000 account. At this point, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 20 something thousand. You make $4,000 in one day on Microsoft, okay? Because it was a lit up magic combination, okay? You have an entry, you have an exit. This was actually only over the course of 2 to 3 days. You have a fantastic pattern in and out, okay? If you look at this on the Phoenix Finder, you can see that it pulled back ever so slightly and boom, it lit up. And that was the time where it was the best to get in so that you could really go, okay? When I was trading Microsoft, I had the choice. I had to choose. Do I want to trade long calls? Do I want to trade spreads? Do I want to trade flies? Just imagine, you know, you're going up to a Microsoft buffet, okay? In this particular instance, I knew that calls were going to be my best shot. There's a couple different reasons for this. Number one, I was purchasing in an earnings series. I had a great entry. The price fit my risk reward parameters, and it was a magic combo, okay? It's just the same when you're hunting for restaurants and trades. Like, let's say that you go to a new city and you're on vacation and you're trying to pick the best barbecue restaurant in a city you've never been in. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to walk down the road, or are you going to go one block and you're going to try to find something? Or what about looking on Yelp or any other site, Google, let's say, for something that other people say is great, okay? The same is true in trading, okay? I have seen this so many times where people are just so insistent and they want a trade so badly and they don't want to look at all of their options. They just want a trade immediately. And they end up picking one that's actually not that strong, when if they just had a little bit of patience and compared and said, well, which one's better than the other, they would actually end up doing far better. So, for example, talking about Dow theory. How many people use Dow theory? Well, Dow theory is pretty important, and it's a pretty important part of trading. And it's so many times I have taught, hey traders, let's look at the transports. The directions of the transports will tell us which way the indexes are going. Because historically, when the transports are trading lower, that means that the stocks are going to trade lower as well, equity markets. That hasn't really been the case this year. For example, here's an example looking at Carnival, the cruise liners, okay? I do CNBC Trading Nation on a pretty regular basis. And we've talked about the cruise liners quite a few times. On this example, the cruise liners were gapping up and they said, hey, you know, is this a good opportunity to buy? And I said, absolutely not. Nobody wants to go to the Caribbean wearing a mask. Just because these things are backing up or gapping up does not mean that they're going to continue higher. And I think we should short it. We should buy some Delta 70 puts, sell some call credit spreads. Okay, well, here's the setup. Boom, down it went. And there you go. You have a falling price in Carnival Cruise Lines, despite the fact that the overall indexes have been incredibly strong. Now, when you look at the indexes as a whole, there is going to be a huge range, okay, especially when you're just looking at the transports. If you look at the transports, you have stocks like FedEx and UPS. You can see all the green, okay? Green, green, green. Green means cash money, honey. Then you obviously have airliners. Alaska, Southwest has done a little bit better as of late, but American and United, those are having quite difficulties. And then you also have the cruise liners that are suffering, and Disney as well. So you can no longer just look at the transports as a whole and say, this is doing well or this is not doing well, okay? This is not a reality in trading. It is absolutely critical for traders to be able to pick out hot stocks to the upside and losers to the downside. For example, you have UPS, one of the best leaders within this group, and it's because of the overall pandemic, okay? You have a perfect pattern here. You have stacked moving averages, you have green candles, you have price up above the 21 EMA. And this is an example of a trade that I took with this UPS butterfly. I got in for $2.15, and then I got out for $3.64, and it was a 69% winner. Now, you're saying that you can't do butterflies unless you have an account over $25,000. I don't know what brokerage that is with, but for me, I've never had that issue. So typically, different brokerages will just ask you about your experience in trading options, and multi-leg strategies are actually a lot less risky than simply trading long calls or puts, because you have a very small amount that you're risking. And especially if you can set up the trade right, you can get into trades for less than $200 if you want. So when you have that multi-leg option strategy that you're using, it really just opens up the world of opportunity for you, because you are not confined to simply buying Delta 50 or Delta 70 calls and just being at the whim of volatility in the market. When you're able to trade spreads and trade butterflies, at that point, that's when you're really able to take advantage of what the options market has to offer, because you can, number one, make your trades smaller if you want, but you can also move through the ebbs and flows quite a bit better. So when we're looking at top-down analysis, previously, I used to break down the sectors. I'd be picking the top stock within it. I'd be looking at sectorspider.com. For example, I'd look at tech and I'd say, hey, Apple, Microsoft, these are the top stocks. Let's trade those. This is not the case anymore, okay? Now, at this point in time, everything has changed due to the ongoing pandemic, and top-down analysis is all but dead, okay? When you're looking at the S&P and you're looking at those 11 sectors, yes, you can pay some attention to them, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind that there are going to be good stocks in communications and awful ones. There's going to be good ones within energy and awful ones. Same thing with healthcare. And I have never seen any more variation than what I have seen this year. So what is a trader to do? Well, number one, we must pick the stocks that fit within the current trading environment, okay? Which means the crazy pandemic, the election cycle, the work from home culture, and more. But how? You have to look, and for me, I'm looking at the difference between reliable runners versus the real money, honey stocks, okay? Number one, there is nothing wrong with trading the top tech stocks. You can trade Apple, you can trade Microsoft, you can do that all day, every day, okay? Most likely, you're not gonna get more than 3% moves on a day on these type of stocks, because they just don't really move more than that very often. But there is going to be far more movement than that if you know where to look and you know how to trade it, okay? When taking a slice of the reliable runners, options traders can really dip into the real money honey winners if you know how to identify them. Now, when I first started trading options, I didn't really have a feel for it. I didn't have a vibe. I would look at different tickers and I wasn't really sure what to do. But what I did was I wanted to learn the rules, okay? I wanted to learn rules for specific setups, and I wanted to learn feel from people like John who know exactly what they're doing. But for me, it was those rules that helped me narrow down the high probability setups. And it's those rules that eventually led me to the intuition that I now have today after applying them over and over and over again, okay? My goal years ago was that I wanted to be able to pick my own stocks. Now, how many of you are following different services and you're taking trades from other people and it's great and it's working for you, or maybe it's not working for you, but you want to be able to make your picks on your own. You don't want to have to wait for an alert. You want to be able to open up your trading platform and say, hey, you know what? That looks like a great stock. Yes, exactly. You, yes, Greg, Susan, yes, AFD, Raj, Joe, absolutely. That's awesome. Okay, that's what this is all about, okay? Because when you're learning how to pick your own trade setups, I personally find that following a rule set is very helpful. So this is the rule set that I use, all right? And people always ask me, what about a bearish market? Just flip it upside down, okay? So we're talking about a bullish market because we're currently in a bullish market. But if you are interested in a bearish market, you just flip it upside down, okay? So what you want to see is stacked moving averages. Now, I personally use the 8, 21, and 34 EMAs, and I use the 50, 100, and 200 SMAs. I like to see the price above the 21 or the 34 EMA, but I will accept the 50 SMA. If the price falls and moving averages get sloppy, I want to see an 821 moving average cross to the upside for a trigger. And if I'm long, I look for an 821 moving average cross to the downside to get out. And I absolutely love high volume breakout moves with price within 90% of a new all-time high. These are rules that I use, okay? These are rules that have done me very well over the course of the past several years. But it's really all about looking for this rule set and then being able to quickly and efficiently identifying tickers that fit within that rule set so that you're not spending, hours researching, because you know why? Time is money, honey, right? It's this rule set that leads to a combination of picks. Okay, here's another day. It's $1,000 day, which is good. It's fine. It's a normal day. Nothing too crazy, but it's a good day. Best Buy, we have John Deere, Netflix, NVIDIA, Peloton. Just an example of multiple different trades that lead to a good day, right? Here's another day that was definitely greater than usual. So this is a $4,300 day, and that was a day from the slideshow that I showed you before where I had that Microsoft trade. So oftentimes what you'll see is, especially when you have a magic combo, which is, we're going to get into that, but it's a combination of everything at the same time, okay? So, we have 200 on AMD, we have 766 on Apple, $50 here, $700 here. I'm down $100 on, what was that, DocuSign. And then I have almost $4,000 on Microsoft, and I'm down on Space, and Zoom is up 420. So when you're looking at a combination of picks, number one, you should be at least like 7 out of 10. If you have 3 losers, 7 out of 10, that's pretty normal, I would say. But you definitely want to get your odds up to the point where you're making your picks at the minimum good enough that you're 50-50. You want to be at least 60-40. 70-30 would be the ideal situation. And you want to be able to trade those in a way that you're making more money on the winners. And, those losers that I showed, they're down a little bit, but I'm not getting destroyed on them. So here's an example with TSM. This is a ticker that I went ahead and got into because it was one of the strongest tickers within the semiconductors. So semiconductor industry is super hot right now. TSM is one of those that's just very, very strong to the upside. You can look at a variety of different semiconductor stocks and you can see that the majority of them are strong, but what you're looking for is the strongest one in the bunch, or you're looking for something that ends up pulling back and then boom, off it goes. And that is when you actually want to get in on a pullback. So that one ended up being a pretty good winner, almost $1,000. And you can see on this one that it pulled back. You got those red candles and then boom, off it goes. So when you're looking at the Phoenix Finder, for example, these candles, you see the colors of these candles? These are replicated down here, okay? So these candles are coded to power this guy right here. So when you're seeing those green, yellow, red, that color is coded down in this region. So for example, when you get a pullback here, that's a pullback to the 34 EMA, and then boom, off you go, and you're off to the races. So, you know, for me, my job as a trader is simple, and so is yours. What your job is to identify a ticker that's likely to have a greater than expected move and determine how to trade it, okay? I've grown multiple accounts this year. These are just some examples of different accounts that I had. I had a futures account that I traded it from 2K to 15 in a couple weeks. That was during the coronavirus crash. I went ahead and cashed that one out for the lake house. And then I just recently funded it again, like last week, based off of my options, profits. Buying stocks, so I'm growing stock accounts as well. Looks like I forgot to update this. This one now I'm up to 40K on this one. Trading options, 25 to 8K and then 6 to 36K. So basically what I do is I look at relative strength, I look at momentum, and I grow accounts. So for me, that is what equals freedom. Now, there are going to be times where I'm conservative. There's going to be times where I'm conservatively aggressive. That's kind of my go-to move because I do like to pick setups that are a little bit more aggressive, but I like to trade them in a way that they are more conservative, okay? And as far as my futures trading strategy, I love trading the open, I love trading the close, and then anytime the market is gapping up or down, that's when I specifically like to lean into futures, or when the market's more volatile than normal. So those are going to be the way that I primarily trade futures. So for me, when I'm trading options, I go on a scale of conservative, conservatively aggressive to aggressive, okay? But the idea here is that each strategy builds on to the next, and understanding how an option strategy works and when to use it is key. So for example, with long calls, this is a great strategy to use when the market is strong and there's a solid chance of getting a greater than expected move. Here's an example, you know, you buy something for 10, you sell it for 15. This is a mastery trade, or you buy this one for 6.15, you sell it for 12.70. That was a mastery trade as well. That one was in Chewy. Or you can trade credit spreads. You can sell these for a pretty conservative one-to-one risk reward, nothing too crazy. It's conservatively aggressive, you know, and especially when the IV is high, it's a good strategy to use. You're not going to be doubling your money or anything like that, but you're going to be able to trade and you're going to be able to have a conservatively aggressive strategy, especially in times like right now where the market's a little bit crazy. Now, butterflies, this is something that I like to do a lot of. I'm so grateful to the mentors that came before me who taught me that they are not that scary. So I was scared of them for a long time. And thankfully, Mr. Henry Gamble convinced me that they're not that scary, because this is now, you know, my tried and true strategy. So I love using these because they bring your cost basis down for the long calls significantly. And especially when you're growing a small account, I think that they're very, very important. So when I start out my small accounts, like 6K, 7K, something like that, when I'm able to get into trades that are less than $5, and I can get into a trade for $2, $3, $4, something like that, and I can risk one to make up to $4, that is the best way to make use of your money. Now, as I grow the account and it gets a little bit bigger, that is when I'll probably use a little bit more long calls. But it also depends what the market situation is. Is the market situation incredibly strong to the upside? Is it a little bit weak? I mean, what's going on? So it's really important for options traders to have different tools in their toolbox in order to be able to profit in varying market conditions. So here's an example of a Chewy fly. This one was actually less than $1. So I got into this one for 96 cents, which is $96. I got 4 of them, got out for $1.80, 80% winner. So not bad, very, very cheap trade. And then here's another one, AMD semiconductor winner. I've traded AMD so many times. This last move right here was really good. I did just get bid on it this week, actually, when it broke down below this area of support. But in this example that I'm showing you right here, AMD was perfect. Phoenix lit up. It showed me exactly where to go. And when I got stopped out of it, more recently, it showed me where to go as well. So that's also important, knowing when to get in, when to get out. In this example, I had a long call plus a butterfly. So sometimes I like to layer these trades as well. And that is when I have the magic combo, okay? So when I have a magic combo, when I have a hot relative strength COVID stock, I have a perfect technical setup, I have a great trend, I have an awesome trigger. When everything is aligning, that is when I get the magic combo, and that's when I like to layer these strategies together. And yeah, AMD is on your no-fly list. I get it. I mean, there are tickers too where they will be put on my no-fly list, and I'll say, hey, you know what? I actually don't really want to trade you for a little while. We're just not going to mess with this. So for me, it's all about timing opportunities. And yes, you absolutely have to be able to figure out which tickers you get along with better, okay? And I think that understanding what tickers you get along with is very critical to trading, because I mean, I can't even tell you, when I was first starting to learn from John and Henry and these guys, they trade Tesla all the time. And I had a small account and I'd sit there and I'd watch them and I'd think, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on this Tesla trade. And, you know, look at all the money that they're making and this and that. There's no way I could have made the trades they were making with my size account. So you know what I did? Was number one, I swore Tesla off, okay? Number two, I went looking for that same pattern, and I went looking for that pattern on lower priced stocks, okay? So I trade Chewy, I trade Peloton, I trade stuff like that had the exact same pattern as Tesla without the premium. And for me, it's all about timing these opportunities, okay? So don't think that you have to trade Tesla to be able to, you know, multiply your account, because it's not true. And then as far as uncertainty, there's always going to be uncertainty in the market, okay? There's always going to be uncertainty. Just in the last 4 years, we had the last election, okay? The last election was pretty crazy. I think that the markets went limit down. Futures markets were going insane. And then, of course, everything was fine. We had the trade war. That was a huge point of disruption in the overall stock market. And then, you know, of course, everything's fine. Interest rates changing. Now we're talking about inflation. There's a pandemic, okay? All of these events are going to cause initial jolts to the market. But after that, you know what they do is they provide savvy traders with opportunity. Looking at the opportunity that we got last February was pretty crazy for a while, right? But when everything started triggering to the upside, that was a massive opportunity. Now this year, after the coronavirus crash, we didn't really get too much volatility. We got a little bit here in the beginning of September, which was also another opportunity. But you know what I think? I think that the upcoming volatility that we are most likely going to get, I mean, let's see, can we take a poll? Like, who thinks the stock market is going to have volatility in November? I mean, regardless of which side you're on, I would have to bet there's going to be some volatility, right? I mean, maybe Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it'll just stay flat and it'll just like what are the chances of the stock market just staying completely flat? Stock market's gonna be like, oh, November 4th, we're cool, we're fine. So, I mean, for me, what I'm getting ready for is I want to get ready for this opportunity. This market this week, I can't even tell you how bored it has made me because the market's just traded sideways. It's like, I love momentum. I love movement. The market this week, it's been like, traded exactly sideways, did nothing. I'm like, come on, give me some action. Well, you know what happens though when the market trades sideways? You know what that means, right? Means after that it's going to explode. Okay, I don't know if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down, and I don't really care too much which way. I'd prefer it would be up, but we'll have the tools to tell us which direction it's going to go. Okay, the most important part here is that traders must know options account growth secrets. You need to be able to know how to identify the strongest stocks that make greater than expected moves. You need to know when these stocks have a specific pattern, making them great for entry, and how to execute upon a pick and a pattern, because that is your job. Whether it's up, whether it's down, I don't care. You got to figure out which direction it's going despite all this craziness going on, okay? For me, I do it by looking for stocks that are lit up. They're lit up green to the upside, or they are lit. I guess you wouldn't really call it lit down. That's not a phrase, but you know what I mean, okay? They're lit up red to the downside, okay? It's all about these rules, okay? It's about the exact combo. Burning down, yes, Ben, thank you. I also like to think of it as like the canary in the coal mine, right? The canary is sitting there in the coal mine, and then the canary starts dying off, which is very sad because I love animals. But I'm trying to think of a better analogy. It's all about these rules, okay? Because I am based off of rules, and that's how I have created my tools to be based off of these rules. What I do in a bearish trend. So it's just going to be the opposite, okay? So in a bullish trend, I want to see stacked moving averages, which would be the 8, the 21, the 34, the 50, the 100, and the 200. And you want to see them like this, okay, on top of each other. If it's a bearish trend, you want to see it the opposite way, okay? So your moving average is going like this. So in this example, you would have the 8, you'd have the 21, you'd have the 34, you'd have the 50, you'd have the 100, and the 200, okay? And you'd have price up here. When you have a bearish trend, you have price down here, and you have the 8, 21, 34, 50, 100, 200. Does that make sense? So if it's in a bearish trend, instead of having the price above, you would say below. Sorry, that's terrible writing. You can't even read that. B-E-L-O-W. There we go. If the price falls and moving averages get sloppy, this would be the price rises. So you just change it. Okay, pretend you're an English teacher with a red pen. So if it's bearish, yeah, I used to be an English teacher, so that's why. So anyways, I gave the rules for the bullish market, but I mean, I'm happy to add those to the slides and you know, cross it out myself and do all that for the bearish market. It's just we haven't had one in so long. So I have created my tools so that you do not have to look at this giant list and go through and cross off everything, because I want to see colors, and I want to see it fast, and I want to see it the right way. So I made these tools fit into codes in this tool set, okay? So I have number 1, my Phoenix tool. This is a tool that I can see a grid at one time, and I can compare multiple stocks or indexes against each other. I also have the candles. So the code also is inside of those candles, and it will tell you, you know, are the moving averages stacked? Is the price above the moving averages? Is there a moving average cross? How are the moving averages aligned with each other? That way, I don't have to think about any of that, and I can just look at red, yellow, green, okay? This also shows up in my scans, my watch list, and my watch list columns, okay? Because for me, it's all about making everything easier, all right? So all those rules that we just talked about, those are formulated right here in those candles. Those candles then power the Phoenix Finder. This is what we call the Phoenix Finder. The Phoenix Finder is an indicator. I came up with a name because think about the legend of the Phoenix. How many people are familiar with the legend of the Phoenix? Well, the Phoenix, it is a bird that when it's at the end of its life cycle, it builds itself a nest of cinnamon twigs and it lights itself on fire. And then you have a new bird that comes out of the ashes, okay? So when you're in the stock market, yes, it rises from the ashes, it rises out of fire. When you're in the stock market, the fire, that is your opportunity, okay? It's not your death, it is your opportunity. And you have to think to yourself like, hey, the market's down today. Where's my opportunity? What is going to rise out of the ashes? And the Phoenix Finder is built so that when the ashes arrive or the fire arrives, I guess, it's going to tell you exactly what's rising. And that is how you can decide when to get in, when to get out. And you can also use it to get out too when everything's falling. It's going to tell you exactly based on that code, which is the trend, along with volume and momentum, which one's rising and which one is falling, okay? So here's an example of my favorite trading tickers. Just looking at this overall, I don't even have to look at each ticker. I can see which one's stronger and which one's weaker. Can you see it in a watch list? You can, but you're not going to be able to see more than one day, okay? When you're looking at a watch list, it's going to tell you, for example, on this day, it was October 13th, the S&P was down 20 points and all these tickers were up and you can see how much they were up, but it's not going to show you the trend overall, okay? So that's why the Phoenix is really helpful. And this year in particular, can't even tell you how important relative strength has been because of the pandemic, okay? Because you have companies that even though they're in the same space, like for example, retail, you have some companies that are just going out of business left and right, and some of them that are just nailing it, okay? So you have to be able to recognize relative strength. And unless you want to go through and look at all the financials and everything else, which you absolutely can. And I have to do that all the time, but it's so much easier to just look at a pattern, okay? And it's this pattern that also shows up with the trend strength candles because like I said, the trend strength candles are the ones that power the Phoenix Finder. And they also give you entries in addition to exits. In this Tesla example, you had an entry right here, right off of support. You have red, yellow, boom, green, and off it goes. In this example, you didn't even get an exit. But the fact of the matter is that these rules are constantly changing, okay? There's going to be times where I'm trading, for example, the top honey money making tickers. There's going to be times where I'm trading semiconductors. I also love trading the Grandma Loves It list. This is my list of my favorite large cap stocks. Okay. I also will trade retail kings and queens specifically to COVID. And I'll trade some hot IPOs. Okay. These are what I call my Phoenix folio. So every time you're looking at the Phoenix Finder and you see how there's, multiple different examples right here, what I have specific handmade lists. And if you look at this top left-hand corner where it says favorite trading tickers, I have handmade lists, okay, that you can just look at and you can decide for yourself which tickers you're most interested in trading. That is what I like to call my Phoenix folios, okay? So for me, my options account growth recipe, it's just like a traditional recipe, okay? You have to have an idea of which recipe you want. What type of growth are you aiming for? This is going to determine your setups. You also need to know your main ingredients. The setup is the core, while other positions can give or take. This is the necessity. You also need to know your ingredients. What are you going to put in to make sure that this tastes good? All right. You also need to decide, do you want those tried and true ingredients, or are you going to go with something that has a little bit of spice, like Risky Business, instead of those regular runners? And what kind of cooking method do you prefer? Calls, spreads, flies, mix of each. And are you going to add a little bit of dessert? Okay. For me, my search for freedom began with this guy. When he was born, completely changed my life. You know, before that, I was living on the beach. I was teaching English. I made $2 an hour, and I was fine with that. It was not okay for me once I had Leo, because you know why? I wanted to be able to afford everything that I could ever need to take care of him. And I wanted to do it all by myself. So, you know, for me, that was how I felt. And that's why I started trading. And every single year that goes on, I know that this is something that I'm going to do until the day that I die, because we never know what is going to happen. This year has been absolutely insane, okay? Who knows what's coming next year? This year, I've been able to homeschool my first grader, and that's something to me that is just absolutely precious. So for me, you know, my time is precious, and I know yours is too. And that is why I trade. And that is why my formula, my tools, and my method has to be pristine. Okay. When my son was 2 months old, his supposed father decided that he would rather party on a nightly basis than be a dad. And that was the moment that he left, and we never saw him again. And you know what? It was that moment in my life where I decided, you know what? I'm going to learn from my dad. It's right here in this picture. And I'm going to learn how to trade, and I'm going to take care of this little guy by myself. And that's what I've done. And I've done it with trading. And there's been a lot of barbecue along the way. But it's, for me, all about a formula, okay? Getting the answers is great. You know, you can get your text alerts. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to get text alerts. That's amazing. But if you want to learn how to create the whole formula yourself, especially something that has the magic combo with that little cherry on top, a little bit of sweetness, the Grandma Jean's apple pie, I am here to teach you all about how I trade, okay? Because growing an account is like making a recipe. I've perfected my recipe. I've perfected my formula. I've gone from the 20 to 50% a year. And now with a 600% per year, I have created this options masterclass, okay? 2020 has been insane. But you know what? In trading, it has been insane in a beautifully amazing way. And there's so much opportunity right now. And that's why I wanted to put all of this together in my options freedom formula, where I can teach you exactly how I've done what I have done this year, so that we can replicate that year after year, okay? I'm going to be teaching you the exact in-depth strategies that I use to earn my account growth. I'm going to teach you how to learn how to find hot trades all on your own and execute those with precision. I'm also going to teach you how to know the best strategy to use at each time. So if you want to learn more, you can go to simplertrading.com/freedom. And I'm going to type it for you right here, simplertrading.com/freedom. And you can learn about all of the various options. Number one, we are going to be having an elite package. This includes absolutely everything. It includes the strategy class, the Phoenix Finder indicator, my personal hand-picked Phoenix folios, which also come with an indicator install session, so you know exactly how to install them and exactly how I use them. You're also going to get a 20% off store coupon that you can use on any of my other products. And the best part about this package is that it's going to happen right over the election, okay? We're going to have 2 days of live trading directly before the election. And then we're going to have 2 days of live trading directly after the election, okay? The election is on November 3rd. And on November 4th, we are going to be together and we're going to figure out whatever this craziness is together, okay? I have no idea what is going to happen, okay? Absolutely no idea what's going to happen. But I know that Phoenix is going to light the way. I know that if it's up or if it's down, we're going to have some clarity and we're going to be there doing it together. So if you want to join me for the elite package, you're going to get 2 days of pro live trading before the election and 2 days of elite live trading after the election. You're also going to get my trend strength turbo candles. Why the craziness around the election? Well, it wasn't up to me. I don't know, but that's just the way that it has happened. So for me, you know, as far as all that is concerned, I just look for opportunities. I look for opportunities and I trade them. Now, if you're interested in getting into the pro package, okay, in the pro package, we will be together for the options strategy class, okay? This is the options freedom strategy class. During this class, I'm going to be teaching the magic formula, identifying tickers that are really going to move, along with my expert stock picking formula, these tickers that are stronger than all others, recognizing when to get in before they take off, and knowing which core option strategies to apply. I'm also going to be teaching you all of my account growth super secrets, okay? If you want to stick around for a Phoenix demo, I am more than happy to give that to you, and I can show you exactly how the tool works in real time. But primarily with this tool, we have opportunity when it shifts from the upside to the downside. Also, when it shifts from the downside to the upside, okay? And I know that there's going to be a lot of shifting. Do I use the Ready Aim Fire? I can absolutely show you how to use the Ready Aim Fire with everything that I do. The Ready Aim Fire is one of the tools that I started off with when I first started trading, and it really was the basis to everything that I did. Over time, I have shifted to use a little bit more of the Turbo VZO, but I can absolutely teach you how to use the strategies with the Ready Aim Fire. And for those of you who want to get a little bit more background, you know, I am a teacher after all. I have included a ton of homework in this class, okay? So I wanted to give you the basics of my top 4 option strategies. I wanted to make sure you knew all about the squeeze. I also gave you a complete write-up of my trading tools in addition to how I set up my watch list and my indicators, which Duncan is going to be going over in the setup class tomorrow, by the way. So if you want to be live in the setup class for how to set up the tools, how to set up the watch list, I highly recommend joining tonight, and especially before tomorrow, because Duncan is going to be doing an indicator install tomorrow, which you can find more information on at simplertrading.com/freedom, or you can call it 512-266-8659. Now, I'm seeing multiple questions from people saying, hey, I'm in your mastery, this or that. If you have a question about your specific account or whatever class you've been in or my mastery that you're in, please email support@simplertrading.com or call 512-266-8659. They're the absolute best people to talk to. They are going to be the ones that can help you out with a specific purchase, in addition to any type of discount that you are looking for. Is there a trial period? For a class, we do not do trial periods because it's just a class, you know? So the class is going to be this Saturday, okay? The class is this Saturday at noon. If you hate the class and you didn't learn anything from it, please email me, let me know. I will absolutely help you. But you know what? That has honestly never happened to me, not one time in all the classes I've taught throughout my career at Simpler. So if you take the class and you say, hey, I didn't learn anything from it, you know, let me know and we'll figure that out. But that has never happened to me before. for the most part, when I teach classes, I put everything together. I put my heart and soul there. I put homework, I've got my scans, I got my watch list, I got my tools, and I tell you the exact formula. And so for me, I've had nothing but positive feedback for that over the years. So if that's something you're concerned about, feel free to email me and we can talk more in detail, okay? But here's an example of my trading tools. I have my watch list. And by the way, this Phoenix Finder is customizable. So if you're not even interested in my personal list, you can put whatever you want in here, okay? So if you say, hey, I don't like trading these tickers, you can go in and you can edit this and you can change those tickers to whatever you want. And let's say you like trading gold miners or something like that, you can change it. So, this indicator, this tool, it comes with the basic package. So this class is going to be on Saturday, October 24th. It's going to be from 12 to 4. I usually, stay after for my classes, answer questions, all that kind of good stuff. This is going to come with the tool. It's going to come with the indicator installation session, which, like I said, is tomorrow. You're going to get my hand-picked stock list. And as a special bonus, I'm going to be giving you my Simpler Options 101 class. Well, actually, John and Henry taught this class, so their class. Because I wanted to make sure that anybody who is newer to options could get caught up. And you will also be given a 20% off coupon for all of my courses and indicators that you can use. You have to check the expiration date, but I think in the next couple months or so, in case you wanted to pick anything else up. The indicators currently right now are good on Thinkorswim and TradeStation, and we're working on the Tastyworks installation right now, okay? So the indicator installation session tomorrow is going to be from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. with Duncan. He can answer any and all questions about how to install it, how to set up the grids, how to set up the watch list, how to use the scans. And if you're not able to make it, it is going to be recorded and you can pick it up after the fact and you can watch it, okay? So the Phoenix Finder basic package is also going to be coming with the Phoenix Folio. These are going to be my top hand-picked lists that I'm trading right now. I have a COVID watch list. I have an IPO watch list. I have a semiconductors watch list. These are the lists where I'm getting my trades, okay? This is the place where I'm making my money right now. And that's why it's just the most relevant, it's the best place to look. And you're also going to get the bonus class with John and Henry. So it's a pretty good overall deal. And then if you do want to join for the live trading, which for me, I think that the live trading is absolutely critical because you get to see how everything works in real time. With the Pro package, you are going to be joining for live trading next Tuesday and next Thursday. I love to trade the market open and market close. So those are the two times that we are going to be joining together on the 27th and the 29th. And then with the Elite package, we're going to have 4 days of live trading, which will include the 2 days after the election as well. Yes, you're going to be joining. That's excellent. Awesome. I can't wait to see you there. I'm so looking forward to it. Oh, great. Awesome. You're going to be joining too. That's great. Who else is going to be there? Okay. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. I put a lot into the classes and, classes are different than being in the options room. They're different than being in the mastery because in the mastery and the options room, obviously I'm giving out the trades. I'm giving out the ideas and telling you exactly what I'm getting in and why. But the classes are really the opportunity for you to learn the ins and outs of the setup and how I'm doing it and how you can do it for yourself. Awesome. Hal's going to be there. David's going to be there. Oh, assign me, please. I love that handle. You're going to be there. Teresa. Susan's joining as well. Thomas is going to be there. Awesome, Thomas. You would like a syllabus. Okay, so the syllabus is going to be number 1. Yes, you're going to be there. Greg too. Helen wouldn't miss it. Awesome. So, okay, sorry, I got a little distracted there, but the syllabus, this is what the syllabus is. The syllabus is number one, how do you find a trade, okay? So we're gonna focus on that. I have a variety of different methods that I use. I'm gonna go through each one. I'm gonna use the Phoenix Finder as one example, how to use the Phoenix Folios to find a hot trade. I'm also gonna show how to use the scanner and how to use my watch list to find the honey badgers, okay? So you want to be able to identify the stocks that are strongest in the rest of the stocks in the overall market. So I'm going to teach you my top-down process for how to do that. Secondly, I'm going to teach you my options account growth secrets. So there are things that I've done differently this year than what I've done in years past. You know, for those of you who may have known me for a couple of years, you probably know that I used to be a lot more conservative. I was looking for, you know, slow and steady winners, singles and doubles, that kind of thing. And I've really kind of changed my tune over the past 2-3 years or so. And that's how I've been able to achieve that exponential growth. So I'm also going to have a special section on how to achieve that exponential growth with position sizing, and specifically how you know when to add more size to one trade versus another. And I'm going to be giving those account growth secrets. I'm also going to be teaching my top option strategies. So I use top option strategies, which are going to be calls, spreads, butterflies. And basically I have a wide variety of the way that I do those, but I'm going to give you my top methods for account growth. And then I'm also going to explain my top 3 setups, which is going to be your top 3 patterns for identifying explosive moves. So when you're really trying to grow an account, you need to be able to, number one, find trades. Number 2, you need to have some parameters for how you manage your risk. Number 3, you need to know basic patterns that are likely to really explode. And then number 4, you need to know, okay, well, you have your barbecue buffet, right? You have all these options. What do you do? So we're also going to go over the top options methods that you can use to trade. And, you know, awesome. You're going to be there too, Ed. That's awesome. Alex, you love the honey badgers. Great. So there are no initial fees after a sign up. When I teach a class, when you pay for the class, you have the class forever. If you join the mastery or the membership or something like that, that's something where you would pay quarterly or monthly. But for a class, this is a full package put together. You pay for the class, you have the class forever. Yeah, so, I mean, for me, what I wanted to do is I wanted to put this together because for me, you know, options account growth is, I think, what everyone's after, right? And so looking at just the variety of methods that you can use, different setups that you can use, different strategies that you can use, and all the tools, I really just wanted to put it together. This elite package in particular comes with the trend strength turbo candles, which for me are just absolutely critical as far as determining, you know, where price is going, upwards, downwards, wherever it's shifting. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that that was included with the elite package, especially because it's probably going to be a little bit crazy after the election. So, you know, the math behind the trend strength turbo candles, they're based off of a 5 color coded system that changes based on the strength of the trend. Okay. This number series that it's based on is based off of the Fibonacci number series. Okay. They shift based on how the moving averages are aligned, where price is in relation to the moving averages. And when there's a big volume move, it shows that in the candles as well. So for example, you see those volume dots here, here, here. That's telling you there's a big volume move. And this, for example, is Tesla, by the way. Typically has some pretty big volume moves. So if you want to join me for the class, you can go to simplertrading.com/freedom, or you can call it 512-266-8659. And something that's great is that we also accept PayPal credit. Now, many of you have asked, you know, if I already have a syndicator, I'm already in this or whatever. absolutely just call the house. Oh my gosh. Every time I get to this slide, I almost accidentally put my phone number on here. And I swear to God, one time I'm actually going to do it. I swear I just said my phone number. This is the office phone number here. But you can also email support@simplertraining.com. But for me, the moral of the story is that Phoenix, it's life-changing because, I used to spend hours a day looking for trades, making wrong bets, all that good stuff. And now it's just so much easier, so much more simple. It really only takes me like 30 minutes a day to kind of go through my different examples. And it's just so much easier. Can I share my P&L, my stats? I did share those multiple times. So this year with this current account that I'm trading, so let's see, my first account that I traded from 5 to 25,000 in January, February-ish. My husband and I, we cashed that out and we got we took that 25,000 out. We got a down payment and we got a boat down payment as well. And then I took my other futures account that I traded from 2,000 to 17,000. And then I did lose a couple thousand after I traded it up to 17,000, and I ended up taking 10 grand out of that one. And then I took another, so it was at 15,000 out of my stock account that I used, which I trade my stock account based off of Phoenix too. So I took all that money and then I bought a lake house. And then I started this current account that I'm trading with in June. Started with $6,000 on margin with my Apple stock. And I traded this one up to 31,000. From, I don't know, it was like midway through June until now. And I haven't decided when I'm going to reset this one. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it. But yeah, that's where I'm at this year. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. I don't know if I'm just going to leave it in there or if I'm just going to, I did take 5,000 out and I bought a bunch of LVGO stock with it, but I haven't reset the account like some of you were asking. So, I'm just a normal person, just like you guys. And so I'm just trying to figure out where to put my money, what works best for me, everything else. My next goal is that I want to buy a place in Seattle, which is what I was saying. I want to get like a cabin up in the woods. So the thing is Seattle real estate's pretty pricey. It's probably going to cost me like $700K or so. So I'm probably going to need, I don't know, 120, 140 maybe. So I'm thinking maybe to just keep this account and grow it more. It's a lot more expensive than Texas real estate. But anyways, we're looking at a Phoenix demo here. Basically what you have is you can use the Phoenix on any time frame. So this is one of my charts. This is the transports and travel, and this is a daily time frame. So you can put in here any stock you want. The tickers that I put in here are a combination of transport stocks. I have some rail stocks, and then I also have some airliners, and then I have some cruise liners as well. So you can look at it just on a daily chart, and you can say, hey, I want to know what is a strong ticker that I can trade to the upside. Okay, well, green. You got FedEx, UPS. Even if you know nothing about the Phoenix Finder, I'm sure that all y'all can look at this and say, wow, that's strong, right? The ones with more red, those are definitely more weak. And then you can also go down to a lower time frame as well. And you can use those lower time frames to get in and out. So for example, if you're looking at a strong stock, and you say, hey, it pulled back and now I want to get back in, you can do that. Or if you're looking at a weak stock and you say, hey, the weak stock traded higher and now I want to short it, you can do that as well. So I have all kinds of different grids. I have the transports grid. I have this big picture grid that I like to use. So this is a big picture grid that shows me just overall looking at the top indexes, looking at the top sectors, and then you also have some key correlated assets. You have the spiders, the diamonds, the Qs that are starting to get a little bit weak, okay? The trend, the strength has fallen out. This is telling you, heads up, warning, 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 okay? You also have the dollar that's falling. You have oil that's starting to lose strength. Gold is trading higher. Silver's trading higher. The yen is trading higher. This is your big picture overall view. If you're a day trader, if you're a lower time frame trader, you can go down to lower time frames and you can see 78-minute chart. You can see a 15-minute chart. You can use a 5-minute chart if you want. And then you can also, like I said, you can go through all these different grids. If you're looking for something a little bit more aggressive in the Cloud Kings, you can look for something there. And you can also see when everything is rolling over. Why not just trade in one account? I suppose that I could. But for me, this year, I have 4 different stock accounts, 2 long-term, 2 that are shorter term. I had 2 different options accounts, one that I was working on for small account growth and one that I was working on for larger account growth. And then I had a futures account. So, when I was telling my story, when I was going through, hey, I used to be a single mom. My son's father, he left when he was 2 months old and left me with absolutely nothing. He would not even give me my own clothes or my own property. He actually wouldn't even give me my son's clothes. I was completely destitute. And if my parents would not have taken me in, I don't know what would have happened. So whenever people say like, oh, you're trading with you're starting with $6,000 or whatever, I just think back to 7 years ago when I had absolutely nothing. So for me, I started trading with smaller accounts because that was all I had. I had my maternity pay, and I had to survive off of that, and I had to pay for diapers for my child. So I started off trading small accounts because that was what I had, and that was the only choice that I had. Now I think of it as just a little bit more fun. I think of it as just a little bit more fun these days, honestly, but it wasn't that long ago. So at this point, I know a lot of people out there don't have a lot of money to trade with either. So what I'm trying to do is show you, this is how I take a little bit amount of money. I don't do anything too crazy. I buy some calls sometimes, but for the most part, I do spreads, butterflies, stuff like that. And I don't do it in a way that I'm going to end up on the street. So that's what I do. That's what I'm teaching. If you want to join me for the Options Freedom Formula, I'm going to be there this Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. And if not, no worries. I'll see you in the mastery. I'll see you in the trading room. And, I hope whatever you're doing is working for you. What's the significance of the numbers in front of the red or yellow boxes? Oh, right over here. So those are just so when you go into the indicator, it's really nothing. When you go into the indicator, they're just labeled. So you can put any tickers in here that you want. So those labels over here are just showing you exactly what tickers are in here. So, you can literally just, you can change the label. You can add, I don't know why I use gold miners as an example, but you can add airliners. You can add, whatever you want. You can just type it in here. You can change it up. If you're not into trading the semiconductors or whatever, you can make whatever list you want. You can make high short interest. You can make Chinese stock market, anything like that. Seems like you're a pretty active trader. Why don't you post more trades in the trading room? So I do post trades in the trading room when I'm in there. I'm in the trading room 3 times a week now. My schedule just got really crazy. Before the pandemic hit, I was traveling to New York a lot. And I also have my own mastery program. So the majority of my trades go in my mastery program. And then I post trades in the trading room when I'm in the trading room. So it's more of just a function of, I want to give my mastery members the majority of the trades I'm doing. And then when I'm in the trading room, I definitely post trades when I'm in there for my regular sessions. 1 being weak, 10 being the strongest. So, you can look at weak stocks. You can also look at strong stocks. For me, people always ask me, hey, why do you always look at strong stocks? Because I like to go with the trend. So if you want to look at the weak stocks, there is nothing wrong with that. And you can absolutely do that. I just like to go with the trend. But you can set it up however you want. Is this the Phoenix Finder for a swing trader who can't spend much or any time to do a full-time job? Yes, this is absolutely what that's for. Because when I first started trading, I had a newborn and I had no husband. And I was sitting there with my dad, who was trying to teach me how to trade options. And let me tell you, you cannot trade options all day long when you're a single mom with a newborn. So I have specifically set up my trading strategy so that I do not have to sit at the computer all day. So the first couple years I did work outside of trading, and I haven't had another job besides trading since, 2014? Yeah, 2014. So then I traded, I just traded on my own for a couple years, and then John found me, or rather I found him, and then I came to Simpler. But I have set up my trading so that you do not have to watch it all day long. Even though this is what I do not watch it all day long. So with the Phoenix Finder, you absolutely can identify strong tickers, and you can do it on a weekly chart too. You can go up to a weekly chart, and then you really don't have to watch it all day long. But you can find strong tickers, and then basically what you want to do is you just want to go down to a lower time frame, and that's when you look for entries. So if you're not watching it all day because you're working, you would probably want to use like a 78-minute chart. And then you would identify entries. So like, for example, Baidu. So if you go on the daily chart, you can see that Baidu is very strong. Green, 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 green. So you want to find a pullback. So you're just looking for, okay, well, where does it pull back? Boom, pull back, and it triggers up. So that's something that you can do when you're working full time, as long as you have like an hour or two, or not even 2 hours, but as long as you have access to a computer when the market is open at some point in time, yes, you can do it. You're going to teach your daughter as well? Awesome. Let her watch all of your classes. That's what my dad did. What do you do with your losers? So I never automatically stop out. With the losers, I typically have like a 50% mental stop. And then if it hits around that level, I go ahead and get out. One thing that you can do is you can set up your Phoenix Finder, and you can, let's see, I thought I saved this grid. So you can set up a Phoenix Finder with like your current watch list or your current trades. This isn't actually my current watch list. I need to update that. But one thing that you can do is you can put, just go in here and you just edit it, edit studies, and then whatever trades you're in, just put them right here. Put all the tickers there. And then if they start triggering lower and they start turning red, that's a good idea to look at it and see if you want to get stopped out or not. For me, what I use, and I can use that CDNA example, is when you cross through the 50-period simple, that to me is dead. So we had something that, we had a gap up, breakaway gap. It was holding. It looked like it was going to go higher, and it broke lower. The second it crosses the 50 simple, it's dead to me. So that to me was a moment in time where I needed to take a stop, but I didn't put anything automatic. I just mental stop, visualizing it. Yeah, so if you have a question about specific classes that you bought or, anything like that, please just email support@simplertrading.com and they will absolutely help you out. As a beginner, would it be better to take John's class or would it make sense to start with your class? So I feel like I'm a little bit of a biased person to ask, but the reason why John hired me was to better help people that were starting out. So I absolutely love John. John is, without John, I would never be here today. I learned trading from John because my dad introduced me to John when my son was born. Not in person, but online. He said, "Hey, I found this guy online who makes money like I've never seen, and you should learn from him." And I thought my dad, I was like, "Man, you really went crazy, huh? You went on the loop-de-loop path." But but I was like, well, I didn't really have any other options. So I said, all right, well, I'll see what this John Carter has to say. So eventually John ended up hiring me because he wanted someone to remember what it was like when you're first starting out, So I love John. I would never tell you not to take a John class, but I will absolutely make sure that beginners get off on the right foot, and I'll absolutely make sure that anyone who's been around long enough as well is absolutely going to get higher level stuff out of the class. What capital would you need to average $1,000 a day? So that depends on how long you've been trading, and it also depends on how good you are. Because once I got my account to I don't know, I think this last one, once I got it to 15, 20,000, right around there, it was not difficult whatsoever to make $1,000 in a day. The thing is about trading is the more you have, the more you can make. So when I was trading with $6,000, it was all right, well, I make 300, I make 200, I make 500, whatever. It's good. It's growth. Once I got it up to 15,000, it was not difficult to make $1,000 a day. And then from there, you go from 15,000 to 30, right? And it's not hard per se, but you do have to, number one, the market condition helps. So it depends what market condition you're in. It also depends how experienced you are. If you don't know how to use multiple different strategies and all you're doing is buying calls and the market pulls back, you're going to be hosed. So that's why you have to be able to know how to do butterflies and spreads and all that stuff when the market pulls back. So I always hate giving people, hey, if you have this amount of money, you can make this much, because there's different factors. It depends on how good you are, and it depends on what the market's doing, and it depends on how much you're risking. And, for me, when I first started out, I just needed to pay for diapers. I was I need to pay for diapers. There's nothing worse than being 25 and asking your dad, hey, can you please buy my child diapers? There's literally, I guarantee you, nothing that is worse than that. I mean, okay, fine. Being on the street is worse. But now it's all right, I really want to grow this. I want to make it better. So it just depends how you're trading. What % do you pay yourself? Well, in the beginning, I would just take out what I needed. Sometimes it was more, sometimes it was less. It wasn't a specific %. John, it wasn't like that for me because I couldn't give myself the same amount every week because I was looking for consistency in the beginning. Now, what I've gotten more in a habit of is trading it from 5 to 25 and then just taking it, because I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've heard John talk about this before too. Is it's easy for him to grow an account from 10 to 100. So you just do that over and over again. You know the formula. You can do it. For me, I've just been getting to that number and then just taking the money out is what I've been doing. I didn't take it out this time yet, but I will. What's the ideal account size? I mean, you can have 5,000, you can have 10,000. If you have more than that, it's great. But I wouldn't worry about it if you have 5 or 10,000. It's always just a function of if you have a little bit more, it's better because you have more cushion. So if you mess up or anything like that, you have more cushion. But a lot of the trades I do are smaller, and you can absolutely do a smaller account. I'm sorry to hear that you lost your job. It's been a crazy year. I mean, for me, like when I ended up with a newborn by myself, it was never what I imagined, but it actually ended up being like one of the best things that ever happened to me. So I never would have pursued trading. I'm sure that it was 150% better for my son and I being alone and then finding the life that we've had. So you just never know, you know? But pursuing trading was the best thing I ever did. Are you a swing, day, or pattern trader? I'm primarily a swing trader. I will day trade sometimes, but not very often. I never have to deal with the pattern day trade rule. There was like one time that they gave me the pattern day trade rule earlier this year, but for the most part, I really don't have to deal with that because I mainly swing trade. How do you choose stocks? That is exactly what I'm teaching in the class. You can go to simplertrading.com/freedom and I'm going to teach you exactly how I select them. It's a combination of using watch lists, using scans, and using the Phoenix Finder as well. Does it work on day trades? You can absolutely use it on day trades. So that's what I was trying to show with the Phoenix Finder. So even though I don't day trade a lot, you can definitely just lower the time frame. So for example, I use like a daily 78-minute chart. But if you're a day trader and you say, hey, you know, I want to use this same system for a lower time frame, you just go down to a lower time frame chart. So, and I can go over those parameters as well. But just for example, on this one, obviously, you know, you have green, 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 boom, breaks down. You know, it's perfect entry to the short side on day trade. Scans are included and the indicators included. And no, the indicator does not lag. That is real time. Yeah, you just got the pattern day trade. Yeah, you can usually beg them like the first time or second time, like, hey, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. You have enough capital to trade with a good size account, but you need to find the right balance of what I can trade, right balance of what I can learn quickly in time. Well, this is the masterclass. This is the masterclass. This is like, you know what? This is my top 3 strategies, the top 3 setups, the top 3 strategies. This is the barbecue buffet. You know, you take little pieces from it and you figure out which one works for you. Normally, when I teach a class, I teach one specific strategy in depth. This class is going to be different because this class is going to be my favorite combination of the things that I've done this year and in years past to multiply accounts. So if you want to learn about that, you can go to, here's the page, simplertrading.com/freedom. I think that I've taken up enough of your time tonight and I don't want to keep you any longer. If you really, you know, if you have a question for me and you're like, you know, I'm just really not sure if this is a great class for me or whatever the case may be, you can email me. Keep in mind that if you have a question about a discount or what class you're in or what membership you're in, please, please, please email support@simplertrading. I cannot help with any of that. So if you have a question for support, please call 512-266. Or email support@simplertrading.com. What is the stock that you sent? By the time the trade is late, no, I mean, no, I'm not sure what you mean, but if you use it the right way, if you use, hey, here's your daily chart, here's your ideas, and then if you go down to a lower time frame chart to get into your entry, you definitely shouldn't be late. So like you see how it goes red, green, red, and then it's starting to turn green. That's kind of when you're getting in. NKLA. All right, I'll look at this one and then I'm gonna head out. Okay, so NKLA has been a kind of a little bit of a crazy short squeeze, right? So initially what we had with this one was we had a short squeeze. We have volume and momentum buys. You can see with the green trend strength candles, they go green. You see how it's lit up. That means you have major volume coming in, okay? Now, then when it broke this high, which the short squeeze is one of the strategies we're gonna talk about in the class, you had a major short squeeze right here. After that, you lost momentum. Trend strength candles show you going from green to yellow to red, breaking down. And at this point, now you're underneath key resistance and you're in a downward trending pattern. So I'm not sure exactly what it was that you wanted to look at this for. But for me, you're in a downward trend. And because of the fact that you've been up against these areas of resistance, whenever you come up against these areas of resistance, you can see with the RAF, it's a sell, the VZO, it's a sell. You're losing momentum here. You're losing volume as well. So for me, that would be a sell down to 20. You want to look at October 16th. So that would be right here. October 16th will be right here. So you just basically had a major, you see that arrow right there? That's a major VZO sell. You also had a major Ready and Fire sell, big volume move to the downside. And you have a fall below these moving averages. So like we were talking about with the moving averages, when the price is below the moving averages and it's flipped and it's running into resistance, that's a sell versus a buy. Yeah, for sure. I hope that was helpful. You're still fairly new to trading. Would I be far behind the class? When I first started trading, I didn't know anything about trading. I didn't even know what bullish and bearish meant. Like, I'm not even joking you. I have my first notebook and my first page was like, what is bullish? What is bearish? And I dove right into trading. And I always try to keep that in mind because I know there's lots of people like me out there, but I also want to make sure that for people who have been around, they're getting value as well. So what I do is I try to add a ton of homework. So whenever you purchase the class, you get access to all the homework, which includes a complete second class by John and Henry. So if you're newer to trading, I would recommend that you watch that first before my class, and it'll help you get up to speed. And if you need any help, just please ask me afterwards. In your opinion, how many years does it take to be a successful trader? 3. So this was something that I asked John about because when I did initially meet John, and like he had no idea who I was. It's not like he was, teaching me side by side or anything. It was just one more person in the trading room, It's not like he was calling me on the phone, like helping me with the squeeze or anything like that. It's nothing like that. I asked him that same question. And what he said that it takes different people, different amounts of time to be successful, but there's always 3 stages. First, you lose money. Then you learn how to stop losing money. Okay. However long it takes you to get from you lose money to you stop losing money. Whenever people email me and they say, hey, I'm breaking even, I say, yes. Because when I told John, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I told John, hey, I'm breaking even. It's driving me crazy. I lose money. I make money, but I'm breaking even. And he was so excited. And he said, hey, you're in the second stage now. That's awesome. Because, the first stage, people always lose money when they start. Like, you lose money when you start. You just do. You're never going to get into trading and make money immediately. But your goal is to cut that phase as short as possible, get to the phase where you're kind of treading water, and then that's where you can really make money. So when I spoke to him, I don't even remember where it was. I think it was an event in Austin, maybe. And I told him, yeah, I mean, I've been treading water and I can't figure out, how to go from treading water to making money. And he's like, well, what you have to do is you have to figure out the trades that you're losing money on, figure out how to cut those losers quicker, and figure out the trades you're making money on and figure out how to hold those longer. And I was like, oh, well, it seems so obvious, right? Seems so obvious, but so difficult. And he was pretty excited that the breaking even stage was there. And that's what I did. I mean, I just went over all of my setups and I tried to figure out how I could hold the winners longer and cut the losers shorter. And your question, Dawn, is what was your aha moment? Honestly, it was Fibonacci. So Fib is what helped me hold my winners longer, cut my losers shorter, and the rules. When you're new in the game, you don't have intuition, okay? You're not gonna wake up and be like John and be like, hey, I'm gonna buy this morning and I'm gonna make $1 million. Like, it's not gonna happen, and that's fine, and that's okay, and that's kind of what I had to grapple with. But what you do have to do to be able to ever even, get to that level is you have to learn the rules and you have to apply the rules so that you can work on gaining that intuition. And so for me, I had to apply those rules over and over and over again. And then I made those rules into patterns so that they were easier to digest. And then throughout that time, I gained that, intuition. Do you do back testing? Nope. No, I don't. But you know what? I mean, you can see, you can go back and you can go back in time, any point in time, and you can test it out. So I don't do like a specific back testing type of formula or anything like that, but I absolutely go back in time and I say, okay, how many times did this work? And you can see all the data right there. Yeah, of course. And you're in the first stage, do not worry. Everyone has to start off somewhere. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I wanna make sure everybody got your questions answered. Probably gave you a little bit more detail on what you came for. So the Turbo VZO is not coming with this class in particular. The Phoenix Finder is coming with it, and then the Trend Strength candles if you get the Elite package. If you want the Turbo VZO as well, just email support@simplertraining.com and I'm sure they have some type of offer. Awesome, you're all signed up. Great webinar, great. Thank you so much. You got more than expected. I hope that's a good thing. Thanks, David. Thanks, Juan. Rick Jagger, I like it. Lily, Anish, Dawn, awesome. I'm back testing since what I used to trade. Yeah, I mean, it's really just, you can see, you can see it all here. So you can go back through any time period and see what it looks like. So, all right. Well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. You're signing up in the morning. Thanks, TNT. Crispino, thank you. I will see you all, whether you're in the mastery or you're in the options room or wherever you are. I will see you there. How does it feel to print money on demand? It's just one of those things where I think for me, the most powerful part about trading is that when you're in a job, you're at the will of someone else, right? You don't know if they're going to fire you. You don't know if they're going to, sell the company. You have no idea what's going to happen. So for me, like, yes, I am with Simpler Trading and I love John and I love the company and everything else, but like the stock market's going to be there. So no matter what age I am, no matter where I live, no matter, Leo, I got to take care of Leo. I love my husband. He's amazing. But like the stock market is going to be there no matter what. So that's why I think it's critical to be able to learn how to use it to your advantage, because it's there and that's what it's for. When do you get the link to tomorrow's session? It should be coming like an hour before the session. All right. Check your email. If it's in the, check your email. It might be in your junk mail. It also should be on the class page. Go to your classes. Yeah, you can go to, here, I'll show you how to get there. Simpler Trading, log in, and you should be able to go, oh, I got to log in here. And you go to My Classes. And then you should be able to get all the homework. Here's the Options Freedom. You should be able to get all the homework. You should be able to log in to the sessions. Should be a button right here. It's probably not there just yet, but there should be a button right here that says log in to the class. And you can check out all my fib stuff, all that good stuff. All right, well, have a fantastic rest of your night, and I will see you in the next one.